Camp Gabriel rocks, man. This is our first day here, and I can't wait for the summer, everybody.
There you go. One more.
And the race is on.
Two, three, go!
Right now, he's going, he's right out, right, we're going, here we go! All right, out loud.
Close your eyes, close your eyes.
One.
Oh, sir, you know what, why don't we just go ahead and step right here to the patrol car? Well,
My name is David. I come from a typical frum family, learned all my life in a typical New York yeshiva, the same one all my brothers went to. Many of my classmates are in Eretz Yisrael and will do the whole Lakewood thing. I guess I will too. What else can I do? That's how my parents want our family to look. I don't mind learning, but I don't really want to learn all day. I don't feel like I belonged in that yeshiva where my brothers were such great students. My Rebbeim expected me to be some kind of super learner just because they were. The worst part was that I didn't have any friends there. It had been the same thing in elementary school. I'm not such a great student and not good in sports, so some of the other kids would pick on me and I was always alone. I hated not having any friends. I was so miserable and my parents wouldn't listen to me. I know they meant well, but I don't think they knew what was right for me. In 10th grade, the phone calls began. After my parents started making regular visits to the yeshiva, I started therapy, but it didn't do any good. All I wanted was someone to realize that I was very unhappy and listen to my opinions. I never went off the derech or anything like that because I really did believe in Hashem, but I wasn't so careful about tefillin or davening anymore. I was living a fake life, looking like a regular yeshiva guy and full of anger inside. Who knew what could have happened to me? One morning, my parents took me to a pizza store to meet someone. That someone was Rabbi Gluck. We talked a lot. That's when things started to change. We really connected, and guess what? Now I'm going to Eretz Yisrael to learn and may even do the Lakewood thing. More importantly, I'm happy. Areivim and Rabbi Gluck showed me a way to be happy in life, with goals and hopes for the future.
All my life, I was a typical Beis Yaakov girl from a respectable family. My problem was that I didn't feel in control. I always felt guilty about what I did or didn't do, and my parents were too critical of me and my siblings. I think girls keep their feelings inside and don't know how to ask for help. I know I did. I was afraid people would be disappointed in me and think I'm a problem and I might get kicked out of school. When I was 17, I looked around at my friends and realized they were all nice from girls who really aren't what they seem. One of my friends cuts herself when she gets depressed. 2 others never eat. Hello, doesn't anyone notice? I think parents worry so much about shidduchim and that they can't pay attention to what's really happening right now. By the time I was in seminary, I was really unhappy and decided to do something about it. I had Areivim's phone number from an advertisement and I called them. As soon as I began talking to Rabbi Gluck, I started crying hysterically, but for the first time, I felt hope. Someone cared and knew what to do. After hours of conversations, email correspondence, and meetings, I found my questions answered and I learned to cope with life. I'm married now and my husband learns in Kollel. Thanks to Areivim, I can cope with life stresses, build healthy relationships, and be happy with my life. Areivim, I owe it all to you.
It's funny how life turns out. I was just like everyone else. A regular kid, went to school, had friends. We all seemed more or less the same. My life at home was a different story. There were fights, my parents were always screaming, there was never any money. My sisters and brothers seemed okay, but it really bothered me. When I started high school in yeshiva, it was much more difficult. I mean, who was I doing this work for? Who cared? My grades fell. I kept getting kicked out of class, cutting school. After my parents met with the principal a couple times, they didn't seem to know what to do with me. I started hanging out till real late, coming home at 4 in the morning. My parents would scream, I would scream back. They said they loved me. Well, if they did, they definitely didn't know how to show it. They never put any limits on me anyway. They're the parents, you know, and they're supposed to care about me enough to help. All I could see was that they didn't want me to get in their way. Finally, I was thrown out of yeshiva. Now I had to figure out what to do. My father gave me a whole speech in between 2 of his jobs, and he got me into another yeshiva. I tried it for a while, but I was too behind in my schoolwork, and I convinced myself I didn't really care when they asked me to leave. I started staying out with friends. Before you know it, I was smoking pot, and worse. One of my Areivim called me, tried to get me to come to class with him, but it was too late for that. I saw how nervous my parents would be when I brought my friends over and hung around with my little brothers. They didn't want me to have a bad effect on them. But I liked that feeling of power over them. I spent my days either stoned or drunk or sleeping it off and texting my friends. I hated everyone, my parents and anyone else who pretended they wanted to help me. I'll never forget that day. I met Joe in the park. Before you know it, I was following him into a house to do this drug deal. Suddenly, the cops are there, grab me by the arm. Joe takes off, and there I am, left behind. You got it. Arrested, in jail, forced to face what I had become. 2 days later, I had a surprise visitor. 2 rabbis from some organization called Areivim, Ace and Moshe. You know what? These guys were really cool, chilled, without that hero attitude, you know? We talked a lot, not about me, but about life. They got me into rehab, got my life together, and now, it's 4 years later, here I am, walking down to my chuppah. I have a job, and I learn every night. Miracles do happen, you know. I spell mine Areivim.